I want to show you right now. You can see just the line of fire here. Firefighters say this is contained. She now works for a hotel in Houston, and no one has heard from her since Sunday morning. If we walk this way, you can see this part of State Highway 80 is starting to look more like its own lake. Police say a woman who had nothing to do with that police pursuit is dead. This is one of the roads here at the Illinois River Village. The river is about 150 feet that way. After Watts poached the elk, he cut through this gate so he could take it home. You can see here this bar stool and countertop flipped on its side. The Cheek family says in December 2015, the water from the Illinois River went all the way up to this white fence up here at the top of the hill. In the brand new elementary school, you can actually sit inside the wall in the library. It's called a book nook. This armored Humvee we're in right now is really making a difference in how efficiently crews are able to search the area. Craig, the video shows Tulsa police arresting the suspect right after an OHP trooper intentionally bumps him on the highway. It's the view you could only see from Osage Sky News 6 HD. Police say it shows the moment Mark Jones's plans to get away with stolen cash comes to a crashing stop. An Oklahoma Highway Patrol trooper does what's called a tactical vehicle intervention, bumping into the suspect on purpose on I-44.
Also be advised, Channel 6 is showing this live. Show me your hand!
Seconds later, Tulsa police officer James Comstock's body camera shows the perspective from the ground as officers flood out of their patrol cars and move closer to Jones. Police say what happens next makes a huge difference in how the scene unfolds. The suspect is able to show his hands, obeying the officers.
They didn't need to tase him. They didn't need to use pepper spray or pepper balls or any other less lethal option.
On your back. On your back. Here.
Once Jones is out of his flipped SUV, police look for the gun they say he used to rob the Commerce Bank at Utica Square.
I have a holster on me, but the gun is not on me.
Police say Jones cooperates during his arrest. He heads to the hospital before going to jail after the dramatic afternoon.
Hey, thank troopers. Thank God they're troopers.
Jones is in the Tulsa County Jail tonight. Live on the scene on the story in Tulsa, Amy Slanchik, News on 6. Craig and Terry, after being missing in action for 51 years, Colonel Martin Scott's remains are back on the land he fought to be free. As everyone waits patiently for the moment the American hero lands, it's difficult to imagine what waiting 5 decades must feel like.
It's hard growing up without a dad.
The American Airlines flight is here, and Colonel Martin Scott is home.
Finally got to come home. I was 16 years old when he got shot down.
Don Daniels waited most of his life for the moment his uncle would come home. A moment he's proud the community paused for, standing along the escort route with American flags, showing respect for the Vietnam War veteran.
It's Dad.
Ron Scott was 12 when his dad was shot down in Vietnam back in 1966. He remembers his dad's pride in serving as a pilot for the Air Force. He also remembers the fun he had. You can see it in this picture.
What most people don't realize is what he's sitting on. It's an air-to-air missile that's mounted on an aircraft, and he's just sitting there smiling a great big smile, and you're just kind of wondering, what is he thinking?
A joint recovery team between the U.S. and Vietnam worked for years to find and identify his dad's remains. Now that he's home, his family knows they weren't the only ones waiting for him.
The American people still care about their veterans coming home.
Colonel Scott was just 34 years old. His funeral will be here at the Rice Funeral Home tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Anyone is welcome to attend and show support for him and his family. Live on the scene on the story in Claremore, Amy Slanchik, News on 6. Craig, right now the river here in Tahlequah is just under 10 feet, a little bit higher than usual. Families who live nearby are getting ready for the possibility the water in the river could double. 20 miles north of Tahlequah in a tucked-away neighborhood.
I can get down there in front of you if you start to fall.
Is a group of people who love living along the Illinois River, despite how bad the flooding can get.
76 is to me was the worst.
Richard and Pam Cheek raised their family on the same part of the river he grew up on.
Feed them fish a day, they'll eat for a day. You teach them how to fish, by God, they'll eat for the rest of their life.
And he says no amount of flooding could make him move.
If it gets up, you know, any further than what it did before, yes, we're going to build us a 2-bedroom log home back away from the river where it'll never flood.
And I'm building a man cave right off over here.
The Cheek family says in December 2015, the water from the Illinois River went all the way up to this white fence up here at the top of the hill. They're not expecting it to get that high this weekend, but they're preparing for anything. Pam is saving a few things while it's still dry outside, loading up the van with clothes and other valuables.
These have picture albums.
But they say even if they weren't taking the time to prepare for the days ahead, they know they'll be all right.
Perks about living in Oklahoma is we got good friends, and they've already called and said, hey, call us 3 in the morning whenever, we'll be out here.
The River Forecast Center is projecting the Illinois River to crest at nearly 25 feet by Sunday night. Live on the scene on the story in Tahlequah, Amy Slanchik, News on 6.